So, welcome back to our backend development course. Now, there's a huge gap in between the last video and this video. So, this is our module number 16. Okay, so if you remember in the last module, we had created a config for our cloudinary. Okay, this video will be a little bit different because we'll be creating the first profile route right here. So what I will do is inside my routes, okay, inside my routes, I will create a new file. Okay, I'll create a new file. I will name it as user.route.js. Okay, so this is the route file, and I'll be importing the router function from Express. Okay, and here I will write export const router, or what can I do is here. So let us do like this: const router is equal to call the router function from Express, right? And here what I will do, I will export router as user router. Okay, router as user router, and I will save this. After saving this, okay, so let me remove this spaces. After saving this, what I will do, I will then create a new controller file. Okay, a new JavaScript file here. Wait a second. Okay, so I will create a new JavaScript file here. I will name the JavaScript file as user.controller. Okay. Just type your user.controller and you will see it will automatically inject the JS extension. Right, so it's our user controller, and here the first function will be me. Okay, me, and here I will write async handler. It will auto import that, and I'll write it async. It will accept the request and response. Fine, request and response, and this will call the service. Now for the service part, I'll go inside the services folder. Okay, I'll create a new JavaScript file. I'll call it as user.service, and here if you remember, we created a profile module. Okay, we created a profile module right here, and what I'll be doing is I'll be also bringing in the profile module into our user service. So let us import the profile module from this location. Okay, and I will write here const me is equal to, okay, and I will get the user ID. User ID will be of type string. Now it's not TypeScript, so I don't have any access to the type hints. Okay, so in JavaScript, if you want to get some type hints, what you can do is you can just write here JS doc. Okay, now here you can see that it has auto-populated many things. Okay, and param user ID is of type string, of types. Okay, so don't worry about this. Okay, why you shouldn't be worrying about this? This is something I am writing to get some type hints. Okay, it's just like a TypeScript kind of thing, but in JavaScript, mostly the production level codes use this JS docs. Okay, so I'll be also telling you how at the end of the series, we'll be also making a video like how we can create this JS docs, okay, for your backend. So right here, it's accepting a param or user ID, which is a string. Now, what I will do is I will write here const. First of all, I will get here exist. Okay, so wait. So first of all, I want to get the user model. Okay, user model. I will use the exists function, and here what I will do, I'll pass in the filter, and here underscore ID will be uh, I will write it mongoose. Okay, so first of all, let us import mongoose dot types dot object ID. Okay, object ID, and I will pass it user ID. So before this, I have to cut this out. Okay, I'll write a user object ID, user object ID. Okay, and before this, I'll write a const user object ID is equal to new and call this so that I can convert it into an object ID. So you can see here it's giving me types that it's an object ID. Why I'm doing this? Because in Mongoose underscore ID is always a object ID. Fine. And right here, before doing this, I will be checking if not of mongoose dot is valid object ID. Okay, so I'll check if it's not a valid object ID. If it's not a valid object ID, then throw new API error. Okay, API error, and I can throw a 401 or 409 or a 400 that is invalid user ID. Okay, invalid user ID. So now why I put this check? Maybe we may some you may have mm, done any mistake in generating the access tokens or refresh tokens. Like if you like stored anything else than underscore ID inside the payload. Okay, so what it will do is it will automatically raise the error like you have provided an invalid object ID. Okay, invalid user ID actually. So this is necessary before converting the ID into object ID. Otherwise, the error will be thrown directly from this line. Okay, and right here, what I can do is actually it's telling me to import API error from this. So I have imported the API error. And here, if you see the exists, okay, if you see the exist and a new constant exists, so yeah, so it just finds out if the user already exists or not. If not exist, if not exist, may it may happen that the front-end user may send some previous authentication tokens that have not expired, but the user account has been deleted already. So it will automatically throw error that is throw new API error that is 404 error, and I'll write a user not found. User not found. Okay, user not found. This is the error that will be thrown. Else what I will do, I will simply return. What I will return is await profile model dot find. Why it's okay. Profile model dot find one. Okay, find one, and here if you remember we have this user. Okay, user, and I can directly pass here the user object ID. Okay, and if you want also, what you can do is you can also back populate this entire user object as well. If you need the name, username, and email. Okay, password is not selected by default. Also, neither the verified code also is verified is already selected. Okay, what you can do is you can write here dot populate. Okay, dot populate, and what you can populate is the user field. Okay, you can populate the user field. Now saving this, after saving this, it's our service, and we have to also export a object that is named as user service, which equals to, and then this object will be exporting the me function. And inside the controller, I will just write here const result is equal to await, and here I will call the user service dot me. Okay, and here I will pass the request dot user ID. Okay, request dot user ID. It will see the middleware. The check auth. I think we write here rec dot user. Yeah, rec dot user. Fine. And here I will write that is uh, rest dot status 200 and then a dot JSON. Inside dot JSON, I'll write a new API response, which will get the status code, then the data. Data will be a result. Okay, data will be result and message. Message is user profile fetched. Okay, user profile fetched. Now let me tell you one thing, that if you are building a public profile page, make sure to not select the email part of the user. Okay, so what you can do is you can use something called the MongoDB aggregation pipeline. Okay, so this is a bit of advanced topic in MongoDB, so we'll be covering this in any other video, but you can use MongoDB aggregation operations. Like you can use the project operation from your project aggregation pipeline. If you search for project, okay, you need actually a multiple stage of pipelines. Like you have to match, then you have to like go for a lookup for looking up to foreign keys. Then you can use the project to project specific fields. You need this three aggregation pipelines concurrently to run uh, to like do not select, if you don't want to select the email of the user. Now we are developing this as a private profile page, like it will be only visible to the user. And yeah, so here we are getting this remove this return await. Okay, so let us just remove this. So what will happen is, by the way, it's saying me that it's returning a promise void. Um, Not promise void actually. So yeah, so it's giving me a promise void, and here invalid number of arguments expected 3. I don't know why it's saying that. Okay, so it's fine actually. So if I'll go inside user controller, and here you can see we are returning the result. And from the user controller, I will export const a user controller object, which will also contain the me. Okay, now as you have done this, okay, I have done this. Now what I will do is inside my router, I will write a router dot route, and I'll write a slash me. And now I will show you one interesting thing, that get. But here is an important thing. Our controller depends solely upon the rec.user that will be coming from the middleware. Okay, whenever we are protecting any routes, we have to check if the user is authenticated or not. Otherwise, what will happen is you'll always get the rec.user as a undefined object. Okay, so if we'll see rec.user, and here is an object. Okay, here is a object. What the object contains is, the object contains the ID, the decoded ID, and the decoded username. Okay, so we cannot directly pass in the rec.user, but we have to pass in the ID. Okay, ID. So here we passed in the ID, and before that, before reaching out the controller, what I want is my check auth middleware should run upon the route, check if the user is authenticated or not. How it will check? It will check by running this code, which is uh, going for headers. If the authorization header is present, then what you do is you get the scheme and access token by splitting it by the space. Okay. So inside user route, what I will do is I will go ahead inside get. First of all, I'll put in the check auth. Okay, so it means it's essential for a user to get authenticated to fetch his or her profile. And then what I can call is I can call the user controller dot me. Okay, dot me. So I'm not calling this as a method, but I'm writing here so that it can directly pass on the request and response to the controller, which will then pass on the ID to the service. Okay, from here, actually, I will just remove this doc string. Okay, so now inside my root server.js. Okay, here is the server.js, and here what I will do, I will go ahead and right here. Okay, right here app.use slash API slash v1. Okay, slash v1 slash users. Okay, slash users, and I'll write here user router. Okay, user router, save this. And if I go into my postman, dismiss. Okay, if I go into my postman and click on this refresh access token, because it has been a long time since I created the last video, I think it should work. Okay, so I have not yet started the development server. Let me start that. Npm run dev. Okay. Yeah, npm run dev, and it's running. So let us just send the request. Yeah. So we got the access token, right? We got the access token. Now I will copy this. I will paste inside this thing. Okay. And I can also refresh the token as I have the access token. Okay, I'll copy this. And in the next video or in some video, I think I will tell you about the scripts inside Postman. Okay, which will be using automate to automatically set the access token. Okay, because it's very painful to manually copy paste the authentication tokens. Now here, the authentication was over, so I'll create a new folder. Okay, I will name it as user service. Okay. So users, okay, users, and I will create a new route. Okay, new request, and go for a get request. Now here inside the variables, okay, here inside the variables, users API base URL. Okay, so I'll just copy this, the value, paste it here, and I'll write the users. Fine. So I'll just use the users API base URL and slash me. Okay, slash me get get user profile. Okay. If I'll send it, you can see that it's telling me unauthorized access. Okay, it's telling me unauthorized access. Now, one problem is that here, okay, so unauthorized access, and here actually inside the errors, actually we need to pass in null. Okay, so actually it's the message, and inside errors we have to pass in null so that we don't get this data here. Okay. Mm, let it be there. I don't need to worry about that data. Fine. So here we get a unauthorized access issue. Why? Because inside authorization we have to provide this one. This is the bearer token. Okay. So I will paste in the latest token that I got, and if I'll send it now, user profile fetch data is null. Well, data is null. Let me see what's happening here. Let me write here const profile is equal to this await. Okay, and I'll just return the profile. Fine. Save this. I think there shouldn't be any issue. Okay. Error refused to connect. What happened here? It's fine, right? So if I'll send it and I'm getting data as null, do I need to pass in the plain user ID? Yeah. Let me see. Save this. Um, but actually it should. Wait a minute. Let me just debug the error. So my bad. Okay. Uh, so what's happening is, we create the user, but we don't create any profile. Okay, we don't create any profile because This profile, these details like phone number, social links, bio, avatar, and everything else should be provided by the user itself. So our endpoint is completely fine. Everything is functioning. Okay. So everything is functioning because there is no issue right here. Okay. And yeah, so this one, I think it's redundant or something. So it's raising the issue, but everything is fine right here. Okay, all the controllers, all the routes, everything else is fine here. So the user has to, indeed create his or her own profile until and till uh, he or she fetches the profile and gets none. Okay, so we will be creating the create endpoint for the profile so that user can come and create his or her own profile. Fine. So if the profile doesn't exist here, we get a null. Okay, inside Postman, we actually get a null for the profile. Data is null. And also what we need to do is actually we need to also check if the profile exists or not. Okay, so profile dot find one. Okay, profile dot find one, and I think profile dot find one. And here I will write here what I will write is if profile, if not a profile, okay, if not a profile. So what I will do, I'll just throw new API error, okay, throw new API error 404 profile not found, okay, profile not found. Fine. We can raise this error like profile not found. And in the front end, what we can do is we can create a validation, something like if I'll send it again, um, yeah, profile not found and data is like this. I think there is some issue in the API error. Data is null errors. Mm, okay, so yeah. So profile not found, success is false, data is like this. I think we should indeed send a null data. Okay. You should send a null if the okay. Yeah, so data is null, status code is 404, data is null, and everywhere wherever we are raising some errors, we must send the errors as null. Okay, fine. Profile not found and data is null. Okay, errors are null, so data is null. So in the front end, what you can do is you can do like if the profile doesn't exist, you can show a form to create a new profile for the user. And once the profile is created, like the data is not null, what you can do, you can show a form to update the profile. Fine. So we'll be creating the endpoint to create the user profile in the next module. Okay. So I'm just ending this video here with committing the latest things. Okay, so I have to go to my backend dev, and this is module 15, module 15, module 16, actually, module 16, and fetch user. Okay. So get user profile and out. Okay, you can go for a lot of good namings for the backend. Okay, whenever you are pushing to GitHub, you can go for a lot of good names, right? So I have committed the latest codes to GitHub, you can get on GitHub platform. Also, if you have not yet checked out the course right here, I'll be putting the course link inside the description box. Make sure to check that. Thank you, and let us meet in the next module.